everybody, we're gonna label him like this unicorn thing. Everybody's been a unicorn over the last few years, but he's more like an alien. As tall as he is, but as fluid and as graceful he is out on the floor. His ability to put the ball on the floor, shoot step-back jumpers out of the post, step-back threes, catch and shoot threes, block shots. He's for sure a generational talent.
Have you had a chance to watch Victor Wembanyama play yet?
Yeah, of course. How can you miss him?
Yeah, he's like the 2K creative player.
It's incredible, man. Like, I believe in 2045, everybody is going to look like Victor.
Question. If those NBA superstars you just heard from said those exact remarks without mentioning Victor Wembanyama's name, who would you think they were talking about? Perhaps someone who's dominated a certain era, a veteran who's close to making their way into the GOAT conversation, someone who's arguably the scariest thing since prime Shaq. When in fact, they were actually talking about this skinny 7'5" 18-year-old demigod from France, who was only about halfway into his first season. A kid that is arguably the biggest and greatest NBA prospect in 2 decades. Or since the chosen one himself, LeBron James, whose hype coming into the league was unprecedented. But believe it or not, this freakishly tall kid who was the consensus first overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, his hype is, if not already, on the way to exceeding the hype surrounding even LeBron in the early 2000s. Some things are just meant to be. You know, a storied organization that has proven history with players from France on their roster and has had pretty good luck with the few first-round picks in their franchise's history. Before Wemby, the Spurs had picked first overall just 2 times in their franchise's long and highly successful history. And they got a Hall of Famer out of both those picks, David Robinson and Tim Duncan, who both also happen to be 7-footers, by the way. But we all feel that Wemby is different, you know? He has the makings to be even better than those two and shatter every mold there ever was. To do things we've never seen before and revolutionize the NBA in ways that we thought weren't even possible, you know? Folks aren't just asking if this kid is the best European prospect ever, although that's a huge honor. People are speculating if Wemby is the best prospect ever, period. Like ever. But is he really the greatest prospect in the history of the sport? Because we've seen a number of all-world prospects enter the NBA over the years. Zion Williamson, Ben Simmons, Anthony Davis, even of course the NBA's all-time leading scorer LeBron James. All guys who are expected to enter the NBA and pull off some ridiculous feats that we'd end up talking about 20 to 30 years down the line. LeBron, okay, he's special, but none of those other guys, no one ever, has possessed such a unique package of shooting, on-the-ball defense, agility, and quickness, and basketball IQ. One NBA scout, I think, pinned exactly how good his skill set is in a nutshell, saying Wemby is, quote, Kevin Durant crossed with Rudy Gobert. And that pretty much says it all. Wemby's a good player right now, and is on his way to becoming the future of the NBA. Now, I'm aware that it's popular to call someone the next big thing or hype them up so much that you completely brush off the fact that the odds of an insanely hyped prospect becoming what people thought he'd become or better are pretty low. But it's still really terrifying for the NBA. So his freakish nature and his overall skill set, that's what caught the eyes and ears of even today's NBA superstars.
The league's really in trouble when he comes in. And I want to see how it plays out.
And speaking of the KD comparisons and even other future NBA Hall of Famers, Wemby's got his fair share of praise from some of the greats. KD said, quote, the evolution of the game has taken it this far. You know what I'm saying? We got a 7'5" dude who can do everything on the court. It's inspiring to a lot of people. There was a time, I think, when many of us thought that what we were seeing with Kevin Durant was something we would never see again. Not even close. But to hear KD use the word inspiring, given who and what KD is himself, just blows my mind. And the comparison between the two, by the way, isn't that far-fetched either. They're both unicorns in their own right, and while KD's game is more catered to the perimeter and the mid-range, and Wemby utilizes his skills and talents to dominate more inside, where many people see the biggest similarity between the two is undoubtedly the movement. Slower, longer strides, exploding off that right foot. By the way, I'm still having trouble understanding how it's possible for Wemby to move like that at his size. Steph Curry, who's torn apart the NBA in many ways inexplicable to us all, he even said, quote,
Yeah, he's like the 2K creator player. Like every point guard that wants to be 7 foot, cheat code type vibe.
LeBron, who stood up to and conquered pressure and expectations better than any athlete ever, called him literally a creature. Quote, everybody's been a unicorn over the last few years, but he's more like an alien. No one has ever seen anyone as tall as he is, but as fluid and as graceful as he is out on the floor. You see, Victor Wembanyama has been in the spotlight for quite some time now. In fact, just mere hours after the 2022 NBA draft concluded, the talk began about the number one prospect of the following year's 2023 NBA draft, Victor Wembanyama. And the 23 draft was being universally referred to as the Wemby sweepstakes. First being listed at 7 foot 3 inches tall, scouts began saying that his height was actually closer to 7'5", which made thinking about him playing in the NBA even scarier. There are only 3 active NBA players 7'3" or taller, by the way, and none of them come close to the array of skills this specimen brings to the table. So, Wemby's really tall. Okay, got it. But it's what he does at that height that makes him visually stunning, you know? The striking agility, scary ball handling, quick twitch athleticism, and despite being the skyscraper that he is, still, he can take defenders off the dribble with a jaw-dropping first step. The kid is 7'5" and can create shots like an all-world shot creator like Steph Curry or Kyrie Irving. It's Wemby's ability to use a combination of step backs, spin moves, and fadeaways, even at his massive size, that leaves the average NBA fan excited to watch this kid on the hardwood every night, no matter which team they support. And yeah, he's still a little raw and trying to master some historical NBA moves. Currently, he's trying to master a shot that no other NBA player has ever been able to replicate at an extremely high level, and that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's iconic skyhook. The same shot that single-handedly helped Kareem retain the crown for the NBA's all-time scoring leader for nearly 4 decades. And if he adds that to his already deep repertoire, then it just wouldn't be fair for the rest of the NBA. One anonymous scout even said that Wemby is Rudy Gobert defensively, Kristaps Porzingis from a scoring standpoint, with Nikola Jokic-esque passing skills. Just off sheer potential, Wemby is already on a Hall of Fame trajectory. So, are our eyes playing tricks on us, or is Victor Wembanyama truly the NBA's next all-time great? Well, what has limited hugely sought-after talents of the recent past, outside of them just not being as good as Wemby, has been their inability to showcase themselves on a more amplified stage. Now, it's still early, and Wemby hasn't yet suited up in an extremely meaningful NBA game yet, but what he's shown us thus far on the biggest of stages has, to some extent, proven that he is built more like LeBron and Michael Jordan than any top pick of the recent past. 2 summers ago, a 17-year-old Wemby matched up head-on versus who many believed would go on to be the first pick of the next NBA draft in Chet Holmgren. And despite Wemby being younger than Chet, an NBA scout said after the game that he had never seen Chet Holmgren overshadowed physically like he was trying to match up against Wemby. But allow me to do you one more. Wemby against the G League Ignite, led by his future draft counterpart Scoot Henderson, scored 37 points with 7 3-pointers and 5 block shots in the first game, before doubling down on his performance and coming out to score 36 in just the next game, all with the pressure of NBA scouts, executives, and players watching closely in Wemby's first ever game on American soil. I think it's safe to say if Wemby issues the challenge in the NBA against top-tier guys at his position the same way he did playing against the elite prospects before entering the NBA, there's no doubt he'll have a superstar NBA career. Honestly, only Wemby himself could stop that from happening. I mean, ask yourself, what has been the recent theme with young superstars in the NBA? Their poise and behavior off the court. As important as it is to work out tirelessly and constantly train to patch every hole in your game, you can argue that having a team of advisors is just as valuable. It's one of the secret weapons of the greatest athletes on the planet. LeBron James used his surrounding bunch to do everything from keep him mentally fit to start businesses and make huge investments and help pave the way for other athletes to handle their business off the court. Michael Jordan's team drove him to hold the entire NBA on a string for an entire decade. Kobe Bryant's people pushed him and fueled him to work and train like a maniac. So What will Victor Wembanyama's rise to excellence on and off the court look like? And who will be the ones pulling the strings and supporting him in the background? It remains to be seen. Because in today's world where all athletes are an Instagram live, TikTok rant, or off the field blunder away from losing everything, FBI, open up! Having a private support system can mean the difference between an all-time great career and wasted potential. And in Wemby's case, this is all heightened even further, particularly because he's in the vortex of daunting pressure, intense hype, and inflated expectations that can feel pretty nightmarish to overcome. Just ask Ben Simmons, once seen as the next great hybrid between LeBron and Magic Johnson. He lost his career because no one was there to push him hard enough to work on his jump shot, or at the very least work to gain some level of confidence in his ability to take one. This directly led to Ben Simmons doubting himself and dealing with mysterious mental health issues that we still don't know the details of. Ja Morant has been at the crossroads with the law multiple times in the last year, and his decision-making almost drove his career into the ground. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait until next year to see if he can overcome it because he's out for the season, but he's got a lot of work to do. Zion Williamson, although for very different reasons, is too suffering from making bad decisions, from his relationships to choosing not to hire or work with someone who's going to push him enough to stay in shape, at least throughout an entire NBA season. Look, as the NBA evolves and gets younger, and as social media begins to consume the lives of these talented athletes more and more, a group of competent advisors isn't just one more ingredient in the secret sauce, it's the key to survival. Wemby has had to shift his entire life over to the United States and leave his family behind. And those who helped him reach an elite level both physically and mentally are crucial. He's already shown his commitment to his career by doing something most elite teenage athletes don't pay much attention to, and that's getting a seasoned, level-headed agent to have your back in any situation. Fortunately for Wemby, he's paired up with Bouna Ndiaye. And for those who don't know, Ndiaye is the protege of the man who pulled the strings with Michael Jordan, David Falk, and helped a 21-year-old MJ land a mega contract with Nike when no athlete had ever done so previously. Which, by the way, was the richest contract ever signed by an athlete off the court and paved the way for generations of athletes to come. Wemby choosing Ndiaye as his agent is just the first and maybe the biggest step to greatness. And speaking of greatness, Wemby's first season in the NBA is screaming just that. Wemby had his coming out party against the Suns with 38 points in stunning fashion. And how about those threes, though? He also could become just the 6th rookie ever to make an all-defensive team. I mean, how many Defensive Player of the Year awards you think this guy can win? I wouldn't be shocked if he wins one every year of his career. Wembanyama's stats show 19 points, 10 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.2 steals, and 3.3 blocks per game. Incredible all-around production. His shooting percentages, especially the 80% from the free throw line, are really promising, though maybe his jump shot and three-pointers need some refinement. Defensively, though, the 7'5" Frenchman has been absolutely stellar, using his imposing physical tools exactly the way he should, allowing him to effectively protect the rim from almost anywhere on the court. Honestly, Wemby could be sitting in the stands eating a hot dog, and I would still be afraid to drive the hoop on him. He also currently leads all rookies in points per game, 19.3, total blocks, 49, total steals, 24, free throws attempted, 76, and rebounds per game, 10.1. But the biggest story of Wemby's rookie season will inevitably come down to the Rookie of the Year award. Wemby does things on the court no one has ever seen in the NBA, with his one-legged three-point runners, his tip passing, and how smoothly he takes players off the dribble for his size. But here's the thing, in Oklahoma City, Chet Holmgren has also been pretty special. A key player for the Thunder, contributing to the Thunder's best record to start a season in years, and their second-place spot in the Western Conference. And his offensive efficiency is pretty impressive too, averaging 18 points on 69% true shooting, and he's a defensive force, leading one of the top 10 defenses in basketball. Chet also made franchise history after his 33-point performance in a close loss to the 76ers on November 25th, becoming the first rookie in Thunder history to record multiple 30-point games in the first month of his career. It's been a close race thus far, and it's debatable who's been the more productive rookie. But what is unquestionable is the Hall of Fame arc Victor Wembanyama is already on. What are your projections for Wemby for the rest of the season? Give us your bold predictions for his career and where you think he's going to rank all time by the end of it. All right, that's the end of this video. We'll see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.